Science.
Scientists have just built the world's biggest ever super collider, and they're doing an experiment to find out what makes up protons. I hope that if the experiment's successful, the whole of our reality will dissolve and a big sign will come up that says, Level 2. Is it how many push-ups could Jesus do?
Things you wouldn't hear on a driving test.
When I slap the dashboard with my forehead, I'd like you to crawl out of the wreckage and fetch help. You made one mistake, sir. A Pine air freshener doesn't cover up the smell of a dead hitchhiker. On my signal, I'd like you to mount the pavement and kill my ex-wife.
OK, our next topic is what the Queen didn't say in her Christmas message.
I've had a few medical problems this year. I'm now so old that my pussy is haunted. The Americans say that they're losing the battle for hearts and minds, but then you look at Iraq on the news and there seem to be hearts and minds all over the place. The real trouble seems to be wiping the hearts and minds off the windshields.
Political correctness. Who would like to go? Frankie!
Now, political correctness has changed everything. People forget that even political correctness itself used to be called spastic gay talk. It's not politically correct to say don't give money to charity. I mean, we might want to give money to Africa, but money takes no account of cultural difference or the reality of those people's lives. If you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. If you give him a fishing rod, he'll break it up for firewood. Or swap it for a fish.
Gun runners, robbers and murderers.
Is it war? What is it good for?
Unlikely lines to find in the Bible.
A man who lies with another man should be stoned. It helps, that's all I'm saying. And on the 8th day, God created a magic talking leopard and forgot all about us. St. Paul's third epistle to the Corinthians. Dear Corinthians, I've written to you twice now. No reply. I don't know how you do things in Corinth, but where I'm from, that's a bit rude.
Bad things for a teacher to say.
Are you chewing, boy? This is the worst blowjob I've had all day. It turns out you're not dyslexic, you're just really, really stupid.
The main rival is a bloke called Barack Obama.
Yes.
Who's not going to win, obviously, because his name is too like Osama. And it just takes one slight mistyping error at the Pentagon. He's taken out with an airstrike.
It's even worse than that, because it's halfway between Osama and a bomber. He might as well be called Muslim Gun Bomb.
Next topic is Scotland. Frankie.
Scotland is officially the most obese nation in Europe. You'd have to wonder what we'd be like if it wasn't for all the heroin. They were talking about making the next Bond Scottish. I was glad they didn't, you know, because Bond was always travelling to all these different countries. If he was Scottish, he'd never get out the duty-free. Come on, Bond, we've only got 18 hours to save the world. It's all very well, Q. Have you seen the price of these little bottles of Stella? Always drinking, Bond, never actually gets drunk. It would have been good to see it just once. Try to phone Q in his ring. I fucking love you, man!
But why is Greenland called Greenland? I mean, that's what's always confused me. It's just reverting to type now, isn't it?
It was to try and entice people there.
It was the brochure.
Really?
Yeah, the Vikings called it that to try and make settlers go there.
They lied.
Oh, the Vikings did a lot of bad shit. Not just the raping and the pillaging, also lies.
Rejected lines from movies.
Milk, bread, rich tea biscuits. Are you sure this is the right list, Mr. Schindler? A census taker tried to test me once. I ate his liver with some fish fingers and a bottle of Jacob's Creek.
Unlikely excerpts from a nature documentary.
This beautiful hummingbird is no match for my squash racket. Penguin with his head trapped in a beer can. Tragic and yet somehow hilarious. Out of the water climbs a majestic otter who turns... Oh no, it's a dog.
The answer is 265 million.
Is it when the machines finally take over, how many humans will die in the first 24 hours in what the machines will later refer to as the Great Adjustment? How much money would the BBC have to pay Tom Cruise if I made the joke I'd like to make about him and John Travolta?
Bad things to say at the opening of the new Wembley Stadium.
And all for the same price as building a rope ladder between the Earth and Jupiter. Cost £100 million to demolish Wembley. If you'd had your last game against Scotland, we'd have done it for nothing.
People are saying, oh, well, it's stupid. You know, what's the point of any of our kids learning Arabic? But it could be quite useful, couldn't it? For instance, if you were sat on the tube and two people in front of you were speaking Arabic, it would make you a little more relaxed about what they had in their bag.
or not.
It'd be good if it was Arabic phrases that you could really use when you're travelling in the Middle East. That's a very sharp sword. Why are you videotaping this? Where's the nearest marketplace? Good, I'll head in the opposite direction. Primary teaching isn't a job. What, you're teaching little kids to do paintings out of seashells and glitter? That's what they'd have done if you weren't even in the room.
What caused this particular disaster in New Zealand?
It's a milk tanker.
Ploughed through two buildings, the first two buildings there. And why did it crash?
And some guy just poured himself out cornflakes, realised he didn't have any milk, and was possessed of incredible telepathic powers.
Unlikely things to hear on Comic Relief.
If we remove all these villagers' cataracts, one day they might be able to make our shoes. And remember, 20% of everything you give goes directly to a grinning warlord wearing a necklace of human finger bones.
The worst thing your new neighbour could say.
My wife and I are nudists and have been for the past 70 years. It's simple. Your dog and I are in love.